we fucking clean!
So good! I love this team. Ezreal, you're full HP. You could literally 3v1 this. No, never mind your shit. This is why you do not buy these items of this MMR. Players are too fucking... You just sell everything and say, okay, you guys are complete dog shit, I have to buy real items to win, because you're all dog shit. What a region NA is.
Like, something small can happen and I instantly tilt. Allie? What the fuck are you doing? No!
No! The fuck off my screen! The fuck off!
Connected to prophecy and political plots, with complex relationships with Lyanna Stark and Elia Martell. Rhaegar's actions shape the course of the story, with the fall of House Targaryen in Robert's Rebellion and the birth of Jon Snow, to the fate of Westeros in its fight against darkness. So let's work out who Rhaegar was and what he means for the future of Thrones. Before Tommen and Joffrey and Robert, the king of Westeros was Aerys Targaryen. Prince Rhaegar was Aerys' son and heir, and he was the brother of Daenerys and Viserys. Rhaegar was married to Elia Martell, the sister of Oberyn and Doran, and they had 2 young children, Rhaenys and Aegon. But one day, at a tournament at Harrenhal, Rhaegar passed over his wife Elia and crowned Lyanna Stark, the sister of Ned Stark, as Rhaegar's Queen of Love and Beauty, when Lyanna was promised to marry Robert Baratheon. So the Baratheons, Starks and Martells were mad about this, and the next year things got worse when Rhaegar ran off with Lyanna, and Robert started a war to get her back. King Aerys was killed by Jaime Lannister. Daenerys and Viserys fled east. Elia, Rhaenys and Aegon were killed by the Mountain and Armory Lodge. Lyanna died giving birth to Jon Snow, and Rhaegar was killed in battle by Robert. The Targaryen dynasty, led by Jaime Lannister. Daenerys and Viserys fled east. Elia, Rhaenys and Aegon were killed by the Mountain and Armory Lodge. Lyanna died giving birth to Jon Snow, and Rhaegar was killed in battle by Robert. The Targaryen dynasty, who had ruled Westeros for hundreds of years, was over. Robert Baratheon became the new king. 15 years later, the first book begins, and it's a mystery exactly what happened with Rhaegar and Lyanna. King Robert says that Rhaegar abducted and raped Lyanna, but in Season 7 we learn that that's a lie, and that Rhaegar and Lyanna were in love. There's this whole thing in the books hinting that Lyanna rode in the Harrenhal tournament in disguise as a mystery knight, and Rhaegar was sent to go find her, which was probably how they met. So they fell in love, secretly got married, and ran away to this tower in Dorne to have sex all day until Rhaegar was forced to the war with Robert, where he died with Lyanna's name on his lips, while Lyanna died in childbirth. It's a tragic love story, but it's also something more complicated, because Rhaegar risked everything with Lyanna. He not only left his wife and children, he started a war that destroyed his family and his kingdom and his life. And the reasons behind this go deep into politics and prophecy and the fate of Westeros. When Rhaegar took Lyanna, he knew he was risking conflict. Like, we're told in the show that the war was built on this lie, that Rhaegar kidnapped Lyanna. But even if people knew the truth, that Lyanna loved Rhaegar, they'd still be mad. Because this was not a society that let women choose who they could love. Lyanna was a political tool that the Baratheons and Starks were using to build a marriage alliance. By taking Lyanna, Rhaegar ruined those plans. He also insulted Dawn by rejecting his wife Elia. So Rhaegar had pissed off 3 of the most powerful families in the realm, which is never a good idea, but it was especially dangerous at that time. The political situation was super delicate, because the king, Aerys Targaryen, was insane. By the time of the tourney at Harrenhal, it was well known that Aerys was mad. He was violent and paranoid, obsessed with fire, burning alive people he thought were his enemies. He was a terrible king, and lots of powerful people wanted him gone. Tywin Lannister had beef with Aerys and said he'd prefer Rhaegar as king. It's hinted that the Baratheons, Starks, Arryns, and Tullys were forming an alliance against Aerys. Marrying Lyanna was part of that, and Rhaegar himself was apparently plotting against his father. We're told that the whole tourney of Harrenhal began as a plot so Rhaegar could conspire with the great houses to force his dad into retirement. So Rhaegar was playing the political game. He knew how dangerous things were, and he was carefully scheming to work with the houses to peacefully replace the Mad King. Until he suddenly threw that all away by publicly crowning Lyanna, insulting the very families who could have been allies against Aerys. Then by running off with Lyanna, he set off the chain of events causing war. The Starks came angry to King's Landing, the Mad King killed those Starks and demanded the heads of Robert and Ned. That was when the war began, and it didn't seem to have much to do with the lie of an abduction. It was caused by the tension between King Aerys and the Great Houses, which Rhaegar not only failed to fix, but made much worse by taking Lyanna. Why did Rhaegar take such a terrible risk at such a dangerous time? To understand why, we need to understand Rhaegar from the very beginning. We're told that Rhaegar was good at everything that he did. He was smart and a great warrior, he played the harp, he was beautiful, he was able, determined, deliberate, dutiful, and single-minded. Jorah calls Rhaegar the last dragon, and says he fought valiantly, nobly, and honourably before he died. Cersei, as a child, had a big crush on Rhaegar and hoped to marry him. Jon Connington also loves Rhaegar, his silver prince, and Rhaegar was popular with the common people, who cheered him at tournaments. So, on the surface, Rhaegar seems like a golden boy who everyone loved. But Barristan says that no one truly knew Rhaegar. He had a private, secretive side, a melancholy, and a sense of doom, which was related to Rhaegar's birth at Summerhall. Summerhall was a Targaryen palace in the south. Rhaegar's great-grandfather, King Aegon V, brought his family there to celebrate the impending birth of Rhaegar. But Aegon also apparently tried to perform a fiery magic ritual to hatch some dragon eggs, and the fire got out of control and killed King Aegon and much of his family. It was during this tragedy at Summerhall, amongst the flames, that Rhaella Targaryen gave birth to Rhaegar. He was born in grief, and that shadow hung over him all his days. But it wasn't just grief that haunted Rhaegar, it was destiny. The Targaryens have always been guided by visions and prophecy. The reason they survived the Doom and came to Westeros in the first place was because of the vision of Rhaegar's ancestor, Daenys the Dreamer. We see Daeron and Daemon Blackfyre having prophetic dreams in Dunk and Egg, and prophecy is the reason why Rhaegar was born. His parents, Aerys and Rhaella, got married because a witch said that the prince that was promised would be born of their line. The prince that was promised, or Azor Ahai, is a hero prophesied to be reborn and save the world from darkness, which seems to mean they'll fight the White Walkers. The prophecy is vague and complex, and people interpret it in different ways. Melisandre, for instance, thinks Stannis Baratheon is Azor Ahai, which doesn't work out, while others think Daenerys is the hero. Rhaegar was also into this prophecy, and it guided him from a very young age. As a boy, Rhaegar wasn't interested in playing with other kids. He just wanted to read books. Until one day, Rhaegar read about Azor Ahai and came to believe that he was the prophesied hero. So young Rhaegar went to the Master-at-Arms and said he needed a sword. "It seems I must be a warrior," he said. He talked about this in letters with his great-granduncle Maester Aemon. Aemon agreed that Rhaegar was Azor Ahai because, according to prophecy, Azor Ahai will be reborn amidst smoke and salt. They thought the smoke was from the fire that burned Summerhall when Rhaegar was born, and the salt was from the tears that were shed there. So Rhaegar was convinced that he was Azor Ahai, and since Azor Ahai is described as a warrior of fire who will lead the fight against the dark, Rhaegar trained and became a great fighter. From a young age, Rhaegar was willing to shape his life around fulfilling the prophecy of Azor Ahai. But his beliefs about that prophecy later changed. Aemon says Rhaegar came to believe that Azor Ahai was not Rhaegar, but Rhaegar's son, Aegon, the baby he had with Elia. Because the prophecy says that Azor Ahai will be born beneath a bleeding star, and Rhaegar and Aemon thought that this star was a comet that was seen the night Aegon was conceived. This connects to a vision that Daenerys has in Book 2. She sees her brother Rhaegar and his wife Elia with their baby Aegon. Rhaegar says Aegon is the prince that was promised, and there must be one more. The dragon has 3 heads. It's not clear how the heads of the dragon relate to the prophecy of Azor Ahai, but the heads do connect to the symbolism of Rhaegar's family, the Targaryens, because their banner shows a dragon with 3 heads, which represents the 3 siblings who led the house 300 years ago, Aegon, Rhaenys, and Visenya. As Daenerys points out, these names connect to the names of Rhaegar's children, Aegon and Rhaenys. So when Rhaegar says there must be one more, it sounds like Rhaegar wants a 3rd child called Visenya to complete the set of the dragon with 3 heads. But there was a problem, because Rhaegar's wife Elia was always frail and sickly, and after giving birth to Aegon, she couldn't bear any more children. So if Rhaegar believed there must be one more, he'd need another woman to produce his 3rd child, and that is where Lyanna Stark comes in. It seems likely that part of the reason why Rhaegar ran off with Lyanna and fathered Jon Snow was that he wanted a 3rd child to fit the 3 heads of the dragon. If he was planning for a daughter called Visenya to fit Aegon's sisters, that didn't work out, but he might have changed his mind about Aegon and decided that this 3rd child, Jon, would be Azor Ahai. Because Rhaegar says that Azor Ahai is connected to something called the Song of Ice and Fire, which happens to be the title of the book series. Lyanna Stark of Winterfell is connected to ice, and Rhaegar of the Targaryen Dragon Lords is connected to fire. So a child of Lyanna and Rhaegar would be a song or a son of ice and fire. There are many hints in the books that Jon may be Azor Ahai. Melisandre prays for a glimpse of Azor Ahai, and her god shows her Jon. There's smoke and salt and a bloody star on the scene where Jon dies, and Ned promised to protect Jon, making Jon a prince that was literally promised. So Jon, not Aegon or Rhaegar, may be the true hero. It might have been Lyanna who realized this in the end. Maybe she named Jon Aegon in the show. What better name for the prince that was promised? So it seems that in the end, Rhaegar achieved his goal. His actions with Lyanna led to the birth of Jon, who may be the hero who'll save the world. But does that really justify Rhaegar's actions? Couldn't he find a way to father Jon without abandoning his family and causing a war that killed thousands? How could he be certain that taking Lyanna was the only way? Vague prophecy seems like a convenient excuse for Rhaegar to do things that he probably wanted to do anyway, like ignoring difficult political realities, running away from his problems, and shacking up with a teenager. Because remember, Lyanna was just 15 in the books, while Rhaegar was a 20-something-year-old prince. You can imagine his pitch to her, like, hey, I'm married and you're engaged, but if we don't bang, the world will literally end. And did I mention I play the harp? And he takes her away to this tower he calls the Tower of Joy, and they sit around making prophecy babies for like a year. Meanwhile, the world is burning. Are these really the actions of a hero trying to save the world? Or was Rhaegar just a selfish idiot who killed thousands because he was thinking with his dick? There is one theory that ties things together in a way that could justify all of Rhaegar's actions, including the war and the deaths. Because part of the prophecy of Azor Ahai is that the hero will have a burning sword called Lightbringer. In Book 2, we're told a story of how the original sword was forged. Apparently, Azor Ahai tried 3 times. The first sword broke when he tempered it in water. The second sword broke when he tempered it by stabbing the heart of a lion. But the third sword he tempered by stabbing the heart of his beloved wife. She cried with anguish and ecstasy and died, but her strength went into the steel. And that is how the true Lightbringer was forged and the world was saved. Some readers have noticed that this story kind of mirrors the story of Rhaegar. Like Azor Ahai, he tried 3 times to fulfill prophecy. First, he believed that he himself was Azor Ahai, but he ended up dying in the waters of the River Trident. Second, Rhaegar believed that his son Aegon would be Azor Ahai, but Aegon was killed in a war by the men of the Lion of Lannister, Tywin. The third and final time, Rhaegar made a child with his beloved wife Lyanna. He plunged his sword into her, conceiving Jon, and she died in childbirth. So the first sword broke in water is Rhaegar, the second sword broke with a lion is Aegon, and the third sword, the true Lightbringer, forged with the death of a beloved wife, is Jon Snow, the sword in the darkness, the light that brings the dawn. So while Jon is the weapon who'll beat the White Walkers, the actual hero Azor Ahai is Rhaegar, dead years before the story even starts. This theory suggests that each of these deaths, everything that happened, was necessary, predestined to save the world. Lyanna needed to die in childbirth, Aegon needed to die in the war, and Rhaegar needed to die at the Trident. Maybe he knew. Maybe Rhaegar saw this stuff in dreams like his Targaryen ancestors did, and part of him knew that his fate was to die and cause the deaths of everyone he loved. And that's why he could never be happy, never be known or fully love or explain himself to anyone. That was his melancholy, his sense of doom. Maybe his is the song of ice and fire. And from the beginning, he knew how it ends. That's one theory, anyway. There's still lots that we don't know about Rhaegar's goals, the politics, prophecy, heads of the dragon, and about Lyanna and Elia. Like, how did Elia feel about her husband running off with another woman? Was she in on the prophecy stuff? And how much did Lyanna know? Between Lyanna and Elia and Rhaegar's mother, Rhaella, there are a lot of women in this story whose only role is to be pretty, give birth, then die. We know almost nothing about them, so it'd be nice to learn some more about their stories. What is clear is that Rhaegar and his legacy are tied to the fate of Westeros, and we'll keep seeing his influence until the end. AltShiftX now has a website at altshiftx.tv. We made it with our sponsor Squarespace, which is an amazingly quick and easy way to make a beautiful website. There's no mucking around with HTML or XML.
You've been north of the wall.
What's the job there?
So, there it is. The line that made us all question who the hell Bronn really is. And what the hell kind of work would he be doing beyond the wall? Alright, so there are a lot of theories out there, a lot of good videos and articles I'm sure about various theories about who Bronn could really be. Now of course we were first introduced to Bronn in Season 1 when Tyrion headed to the Inn of the Crossroads on his way home from the Night's Watch, where he had visited the Wall to piss off the edge of the world, and comes into the inn at the Crossroads wanting a feather bed, etc., and Bronn gladly gives up his bed for a little gold. Of course at that point Catelyn Stark came in and had Tyrion arrested for the assassination attempt on Bran's life because she was gullible enough to believe Littlefinger's bullshit story about him owning the dagger and getting it from Tyrion. So of course Bronn did accompany them to the Eyrie when she was going to take Tyrion for trial to her crazy ass sister Lysa Arryn, and eventually he saves Tyrion's life by winning his trial by combat, and then they leave the Eyrie to head to find Tywin Lannister, and Bronn accompanies Tyrion, and essentially he's been a Lannister henchman ever since. So again, there are a lot of theories out there about who Bronn could be other than the sellsword he says he is. One of the major theories, of course, is him being a Reign of Castamere. Now, for a little history here, the Reigns of Castamere was a noble house of Westeros, the actual Reigns from Castamere, that Tywin Lannister wiped off the map. Of course, it became a big thing. They sang a song about it and wrote the Reigns of Castamere. So when you hear that song, especially at a wedding, you know some bad shit's about to go down. There's also theories that Bronn could be a Night's Watch member that's gone rogue or AWOL. And that's certainly a possibility, but I think that was shot down in the very same scene where we were introduced to Bronn, because Yoren came in with Tyrion, of course, from the Wall, and Yoren has been in the Night's Watch for over 30 years as a recruiter, so he would know somebody Bronn's age if he had been at the Night's Watch. Perhaps he might not have known his name, but I think he would have probably known who he was. Now, it's certainly possible he could have been in a different castle or something like that, but I think Yoren, as a recruiter to the Night's Watch, would have pretty much known anybody that came in, no matter what castle they were assigned to. At some point, they all come to Castle Black, and as we saw on the show itself, they get assigned out from there to the various castles they may go man. So I think it's unlikely that Bronn is a Night's Watch member gone AWOL. There are some hints that possibly Bronn is just from across the Narrow Sea, and possibly from Bravo specifically, because in the scene with Tyrion and Shae in the tent when they play their games, where we heard he was north of the Wall in the first place, he does tell Tyrion and Shae he could show them a Braavosi knife game. So that's certainly a possibility and kind of fits the idea that he's just a well-traveled sellsword. And of course another theory is that he could possibly just be an actual wildling. He was born there and that's what he meant by work, because if you live beyond the Wall, hell, it's work just to survive. So I think it's a big possibility that Bronn is simply a sellsword as he says he is, and as a matter of fact, in an interview with George R. R. Martin himself many years ago, someone asked him specifically about Bronn, and he did respond that he essentially just needed a character for Tyrion to talk to so he could get his perspective, and that character became Bronn, and he just kind of grew beyond what he expected him to be in the first place. So I think the odds are that Bronn is in fact just a sellsword, regardless of where he's actually from, where he was born. We never hear about his last name, so he could be from Essos. It's certainly a possibility he was a wildling and became a sellsword. That would explain why he's so hard and tough and he's a great fighter, but he don't know a lot about Westerosi politics. Maybe he just got tired of the cold and scaled the wall with climbing spikes like they have before in the show, and came over and kind of blended into society and became a sellsword. And of course he would use the only real skill he had, fighting, which he's very good at. And I think wildlings are pretty damn good fighters, because the wildlings before Mance Rayder were always fighting amongst themselves, and of course you have to fight just to survive beyond the Wall. But that still begs the question, if he wasn't a wildling, what was he doing beyond the Wall for work, no matter where he came from? But I think we may have a little bit of evidence from the show itself that he is actually just a sellsword, but he was actually sent beyond the Wall for a particular task.
Trouble with the wildlings. That's why they're called wildlings. Somewhat less wild these days.
Seems they've stopped killing each other and started following this king beyond the wall.
So in this clip here we hear Varys telling the small council about the king beyond the Wall, Mance Rayder. Now of course Varys is the master of whispers, he is the spider, he has spies all over the place, little birds that whisper in his ear so he knows when everybody's taking a shit. But the point being here that he would not have little birds beyond the Wall or even in the Night's Watch. Sure, it's possible he has informants in the Night's Watch, but not little mute kids that could not go beyond the Wall and survive. So I think it's very possible, because of this information that he gives Cersei and the council, that at some point Varys simply hired a group of sellswords, probably a small group, to get some intel on the wildlings in this new king beyond the Wall known as Mance Rayder, because Varys and Illyrio, for that matter, from the very beginning of this story, show, and books, wanted a Targaryen restoration. So I think with Varys gathering all this information, it would be in his best interest, if he hears rumors about a new king beyond the Wall, to find out what's going on, to see if it's any real threat to Dany coming over to Westeros and taking over the Iron Throne in their plot to bring a Targaryen back to power. So I think this is the most likely scenario. I don't think that Bronn is anybody else but a sellsword who might have been sent beyond the Wall, perhaps by Varys, to gain some intel. And of course, if this is the case, it doesn't mean that Bronn ever actually met Varys. He could have simply met somebody who was in charge of Bronn if he was a member of a sellsword company. Perhaps it was just a small group of mercenaries, and that way he got the job done, but he never actually met all the members that went beyond the Wall, which may have included Bronn. And of course, that doesn't mean he was sent there to actually kill Mance Rayder, maybe just to gather some intel to see what needed to be done to make sure it didn't impede his and Illyrio's plans to bring Dany across the Narrow Sea and put a Targaryen back on the Iron Throne. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Is Bronn just a mercenary, or is he someone bigger in our story as far as a bigger role to play? In this case, I personally think he's just who he says he is. He is a sellsword. Not everyone in our story has to be a secret Targaryen, or hell, Azor Ahai for that matter. So I think Bronn is exactly who he says he is.
そしてこれが大切なところですが、この時心の中でわびろがごとくつぶやいてほしいのです。
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Binging with Babish, where this week I'm going to mispronounce a lot of things like this. Kombu, which kind of looks like green lasagna noodles. It helps to form the soup base for Tampopo style shoyu ramen, along with about a pound of chicken feet whose nails we're going to snip off before getting a large stock pot ready with a quarter pound of pork spare ribs and 2 pounds of chicken wings. We're going to add that to the pot with our chicken feet, a whole head of garlic halved, 1 large scallion cut into 6-inch pieces, a whole onion halved, and about 4 quarts of water in which we've soaked 4 large kombu leaves for about 24 hours. We're going to put this over very low heat and bring to a bare simmer, skimming off any scum that comes to the top and keeping it below 200 degrees Fahrenheit. After about 4 hours, we're going to add some bonito and some dried anchovies, which we're going to strain after about another hour. Chill that broth overnight while we make our noodles. We need to bake some baking soda at 225 degrees Fahrenheit for about an hour before dissolving 1 tablespoon in half a cup of warm water that we're going to slowly drizzle into 8.5 ounces of bread flour along with 1 ounce of Vital Wheat gluten. Press together into a shaggy dough and knead for about 5 minutes before letting it rest in plastic wrap for 1 hour, rolling it out using a pasta machine. Roll it thinner and thinner until you can run it through the pasta cutter, creating perfect little alkali noodles that we're going to toss with cornstarch, place on a baking sheet, cover in plastic wrap, and refrigerate overnight. Now yes, you could chemically alter your own baking soda and create noodles that take several hours to make before refrigerating for 24 hours, or you could just buy a packet at the store. They're not going to be nearly as good, but I don't know, your call. Moving on, it's time to make our chashu pork. Now, I wasn't sure if it was pork belly or pork shoulder, so I went ahead and got both. I'm going to start by searing the pork shoulder while leaving the pork belly unaffected before topping with half a cup of soy sauce, a full cup of mirin, a type of Japanese cooking wine, a full cup of sake. By the way, mix this stuff up beforehand, don't do it like I'm doing. 1 whole shallot halved, a 2-inch knob of ginger peeled and chopped, and half a dozen cloves of crushed garlic. Now we're going to top this, but leave the lid slightly ajar and braise at 275 for about 3 hours. Now in the same pan in which we seared the pork, we're going to saute half a cup of dried anchovies before deglazing with 2 cups of soy sauce, adding a couple broken kombu leaves, letting that steep without boiling for about 10 minutes, adding half a cup of bonito flake, and letting that steep an additional 5 minutes before draining and setting aside. Wipe out the pan and add about a quarter cup of sake, a few tablespoons of mirin, and 1 to 2 tablespoons brown sugar. We're going to bring that to a boil and burn off the alcohol before adding our fishy soy sauce mixture back to the party. And boom, we've got tare. Now, finally, it's time to assemble. While we boil our noodles for no more than 30 seconds, place 2 tablespoons of tare, half a tablespoon of toasted sesame oil, a few ladlefuls of our broth boiling hot, and finally our noodles into a warm bowl. Then we're going to garnish with 3 very thin slices of our pork, a slice of kamaboko or Japanese fish cake, a few scallions, some menma or braised bamboo shoots, and our sheet of nori or seaweed. Now it's time to lovingly stroke our pork and apologize to it. Move it over to the side of the bowl, as the ramen master did, and begin slurping your noodles. It's very important to slurp the noodles, both to attain maximum flavor and to embarrass yourself in front of friends and family.
The Daytona 500 is one of the biggest sports events of the year. So get your friends and family together and watch the great American race with a Daytona Day party right in your own home. Now, to make things extra special, I've created the official Daytona Day party menu and want to show you how to make 2 delicious dishes. Let's get started. Now, the secret of a great slider has to be that amazing butt of pork. Look at this baby. This is a very cheap cut. It looks expensive, but it's very cheap. So, the secret behind this is making sure you cook it low and slow. Now is to sort of give it a really good rub and marinade. First off, a really nice smoked paprika. Brown sugar on top. Next to that, some thyme flowers. Dry thyme is great. And then some minced garlic. All you need to do now is just get your hands in there and start rubbing. The secret here is to literally coat this pork butt with all those spices. It really starts to flavour it. Look, there you go. That's a beautiful, incredible, fragrant pork butt. So, get a nice long roasting tray. Lightly oil it. From there, get your onions. Just peel them and slice them in half. Onions in. Now, That's what the pork butt sits on, okay? From there, get that up to temp, and then lightly season those onions. So, fresh thyme in. Again, dry thyme is fine. What we're trying to do now is make this amazing sort of bed of this sweet caramelized onion that pork sits on throughout the 8 to 10 hours. Lift up your pork, sit that on top of your onions, and then from there, take your stock. This is the plain chicken stock, but you can use vegetable stock if you wish, and pour that over. Now, basically that's it. Before it goes into the oven, a nice seasoning on top. Stock comes up to the boil, and then tin foil. Tuck in your ends, and then literally that is it. And then from there into the oven at 250 for a minimum of 8 hours. Right. Let's think about the slaw. First off, the red cabbage. This is just shredded ultra thinly. We're going to use a sort of really nice white cabbage, and then the carrots. Now, again, rather than slicing them, grate the carrots. Mix them up, and then from there, just to sort of liven this up a little bit and make it a little bit sort of zesty, take your lemons. You get the zest of your lemon, that perfect sort of amount of acidity. From there, lemon in, and already, just with the zest and the lemon juice, the whole thing's fresh. And now for the dressing. This is a really delicious, light buttermilk vinegar dressing with a touch of honey in there. Now give that a really good mix up. That starts to form a delicious slider. This buttermilk slaw, especially with a lemon, makes it nice and light, fresh, and incredibly flavoursome. This is where the magic unfolds. We'll just come a little bit closer and have a look inside here. Look at those. Just the flavour. We start slicing the pork. We're going to shred it nice and fine. Off. And we'll dip that in the juice and then into the bowl. First off, the slices are nice and thin. Lay them onto the board. And then from there, literally, get the knife doing the work. And look. Now the secret from there, those onions, what we call a chef's dream. You take the onions and likewise, hold them together, turn them over, and literally slice. So you've got this caramelized onion puree that's running through that pork. You can't buy those onions in. Now for putting these delicious pork butt sliders together. Gas on. Slice the buns in half and just toast them lightly. This starts to sort of almost protect the bun. It stops it from going soggy. And look, that's what I want, a nice toasted bun. Now, we'll start off with a little bit of chipotle. Just dab that on the bottom. It's nice and moist. Now, just from there, take your slaw. Again, don't go crazy. Give it a good mix. Sit that on top. You've got flavour in. Going that extra yard and toasting those buns makes a massive difference, let me tell you. And now for the magic. The pork. Be generous and literally sit that on top of the slaw. You've got those onions. Smell how sweet they are, it's incredible. And then finally, before we put the lid down on that slider, take your chipotle, just sit that on top. That is a perfect race day treat. Finally, take your buns and then sit them on top. Push that down a little bit so they don't fall out. They have to be the tastiest pork sliders anywhere on race day. Good luck. And there we are. These incredible pork butt sliders. And that completes this incredible Daytona party menu with the most amazing mac and cheese, a grilled romaine salad, and the sweet potato tater tots And then, of course, this wonderful flourless chocolate cake. And let's not forget, a Daytona Destroyer cocktail. All these recipes online. This will complete an amazing day. Good luck and have a fantastic weekend. Bye.
Everything is always fine even if you don't know it. There's been many a time, no, I may not have shown it. I have been afraid and I have messed it up, blown it once or twice before, trying to live in present moments. Everything is always fine even if you don't know it. Love to say that life's divine, in fact it's the opposite. Some things come clear in time and some things never show their face. I think we're all just trying to live in present moments.
Sup?
Hello.
Sup?
Greetings, greetings.
Alright, what are you doing? It's time for me to win 3,000 packs.
Those are mine.
Ah, nice try.
You increase your odds by
What?
doing quests every day.
No, isn't it just a number of quests?
I don't know.
So you just have to make sure you don't lose any by having a full thing.
So it's like the more quests you do, the more
the more tickets you
The more,
get
like,
into the
it's like-
raffle.
it's like a raffle. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's got the full golden. Why don't you have these?
Yo, that's a golden epic. You think I have that? Nice try.
No, he had golden patches too.
Alright, well this guy's pay to win. What the hell? Wait a minute, golden patches.
As an ex-legend player,
He's gonna make some nice bank from that golden patches.
Honestly, you should have money out the wazoo.
Nice try. If I get 3,000 packs, I will craft golden patches. After the nerf.
I'm probably gonna disenchant my patches.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm disenchanting my patches. I want that dust. I'll make. I'll have enough dust to make Roque Delar, the hunter weapon.
I'm just gonna disenchant every single card that's
Oh yeah. See a corridor creepers.
Disenchant my Raza.
See a Raza.
Disenchant my corridor sleeper.
See a corridor sleeper. This guy's gonna.
Going clean?
Nope. This guy's just doing that. What's gonna make me this? Haha.
Hello, Mr. Chan.
Hello.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi.
What you doing? Video games.
Watch.
Say.
He's watching a master player at work.
Have you done anything? No, Dad. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, boy.
How come?
How come what?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, he's gonna bone marry me though. Yikers. Oh, I lost. Those 2 free corridor creepers really didn't help me out this game. God damn it, dude. That's 14 health. 14, 9. That's 12 I'm doing this. Yeah, fuck, I know. Oh yeah. Blizzard. Oh yeah. Those aren't taunts. Oh yeah.
With the mirror match.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Another intense Raven 1v1.
Oh yeah.
But also, is this your devotion game?
Oh yeah. What the fuck? Ba da ba ba ba.
What the?
What
So
the
much silly
fuck is this guy? What an Andilian. Car Creeper. This guy's deck is inferior to mine. Oh yeah. Gimme that. Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, meteor that motherfucker. Yeah. Yeah.
Big boy.
Yeah.
Oh, chill.
Yo, get
Right in
fucked.
the face.
Yeah. Yo, fuck you.
Game.
What's up? Dude, I don't even give a fuck about that card. Hell no.
呢度辛苦嚟嘅咩？
係
嚇？
Yeah.
Wrong to the Titan.
Yikes.
Ew.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah.
Was it?
So. Mm. Don't you ever go out somewhere with your friend? You want to hang out with your friend?
I have no idea what the hell you just said.
Your friend, don't you hang out with your friend?
So,
Meredith?
Oh.
No.
what the? Yikes. Okay, we lost. Bow, 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 bow. Oh my Jesus Christ, we lost. Bum. Oh yeah. Oh no.
What we've been waiting for our whole lives. Father King does it always, we not.
I can memorize every damn sentence out of those books.
It's ours now, we just have to touch it. You've been quiet since you came home. You're angry with me.
What's that?
I'm afraid of you.
Should I be?
Daenerys Targaryen has chosen Tyrion to be her hand. Right now they're sailing across the narrow sea, hoping to take back her father's throne. Our little brother. The one you love so much. The one you set free. The one who murdered our father and our firstborn son. Now he stands beside our enemies and gives them counsel. He's out there somewhere at the head of an armada.
Oh yeah.
Where will they land?
Dragonstone. We have deep water ports for the ships. Stannis left the castle unoccupied, and that's where she was born.
Enemies to the east. Enemies to the south. Nari Sand and her brood of bitches. Enemies to the west. Olenna, the old cunt. Another traitor. Enemies to the north. Ned Stark's bastard, who's been named king of the north without murdering, or Sansa stands beside him. Enemies everywhere. We're surrounded by traitors. You're in command of the Lannister army now. How do we proceed?
Winter's here.
Oh yeah.
Or if we can't feed our men and our
We
horses.
fucking lost.
The Tyrells have the grain, the Tyrells have the livestock.
Will the Tyrell Bannermen stand alongside a Dothraki horde, an unsullied slave soldiers?
If they think Daenerys will win, no one wants to fight on the losing side. Right now, we look like the losing side.
I'm the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms.
3 kingdoms at best. I'm not sure you understand how much danger we're in.
I understand we're in a war for survival. I understand whoever loses dies. I understand whoever wins could launch a dynasty that lasts 1,000 years.
A dynasty for whom? Our children are dead. We're the last of us.
A dynasty for us, then.
We never talked about Tommen.
There's nothing to say.
Our baby boy killed himself.
He betrayed me. He betrayed us both. Should we spend our days mourning the dead, mother, father, and all our children?
Cersei.
I loved them, I did. But their ashes now, we're still flesh and blood. The last Lannisters, the last ones who count.
Even Lannisters can't survive without allies. Where are our allies now? You saw what happened to Walder Frey and his family.
I heard. How could we ever trust a man like that?
We couldn't. He was a useless old coward, but the Frey supported us. Now they're all dead. Whoever killed them is no friend of ours. We need allies. Stronger, better allies. We can't win this war alone.
I think I listened to Father for 40 years and learned nothing.
Greyjoys. You invited the Greyjoys to King's Landing.
Not all of them.
Well, looks like all of them.
I invited Euron Greyjoy, the new king of the Iron Islands. You said yourself we needed stronger, better allies. There you are.
How are they better allies? How are they different from the Freys? They both broke their promises and murdered their former friends as soon as it suited them.
Well, so does everyone. When it suits them. Unlike the Freys, they have ships. And they're good at killing.
They're not good at anything. I know the Ironborn. They're bitter, angry little people. All they know how to do is steal things they can't build or grow themselves.
Euron Greyjoy didn't come here for that.
No, what did he come here for?
A queen.
The moment I was chosen Lord of the Iron Island, they turned on me. Their own uncle. They stole my best ships and ran. Sailed them right across the world and gave them to the
The fuck?
so she could bring her armies here to attack you. It's nothing compared to the treason you suffered at the hands of a family member. From what I hear,
But still, it bothers me.
Murdering them would make me feel a lot better.
Alright, we lost.
And since it appears that all our treasonous family members are fighting for the same side, I thought we rightful monarchs could murder them together.
You're not a rightful monarch, are you?
The Greyjoys rebelled against the throne for the right to be monarchs, but as I recall, you were soundly defeated. Come to mention it,
Weren't you the one who started that rebellion by sailing to Casterly Rock and burning the Lannister fleet?
you certainly caught us there. Very smart move on your part. Of course, we all made it to the Iron Islands anyway. I was there.
I remember very well. I saw you. I heard so much talk. The best in the world, no one can stop him. I didn't believe it, to be honest. But I must say, when you rushed through the breach and started cutting people down, it was glorious. Like a dance.
People I was cutting down were your own kin.
The place was getting crowded. I enjoyed watching it. I truly did.
I enjoyed killing Greyjoys.
A good thing for me. If you hadn't crushed us, I wouldn't have gone into exile. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be the greatest captain of the 14 seas.
If not the most humble.
You're not humble. You're the queen of a great nation. You don't care about the Iron Islands. They're nothing but rocks and bird shit and a lot of very unattractive people. The Iron Fleet, on the other hand, has something else entirely. It's the greatest armada Westeros has ever seen. With the Iron Fleet, you own the seas. You can defeat the invaders in the east and the pretenders in the north and south.
What do you want in return?
Ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to grow up and marry the most beautiful woman in the world. So here I am, with 1,000 ships and 2 good hands.
I decline your proposal.
Why?
You're not trustworthy. You've broken promises to allies before and murdered them at the nearest opportunity. You murdered your own brother.
You should try it. Feels wonderful. I don't expect you to trust me outright. You need proof of my honest intentions. In my experience, the surest way to a woman's heart is with a gift. A priceless gift. I won't return to King's Landing until I have that for you.
The Mad King's daughter takes the Iron Throne, she'll destroy the realm as we know it. Some of you are bannermen of House Tyrell. But House Tyrell is in open rebellion against the crown. With their help, the Mad King's daughter has ferried an army of savages to our shores. Mindless, unsullied soldiers who will destroy your castles and your holdfasts. Dothraki heathens who will burn your villages to the ground. Rape and enslave your women. And butcher your children without a second thought. This is how Olenna Tyrell rewards centuries of service and loyalty. You all remember the Mad King. You remember the horrors he inflicted upon his people. His daughter is no different. In Essos, her brutality is already legendary. She crucified hundreds of noblemen in Slaver's Bay. And when she grew bored of that, she fed them to her dragons. It is my solemn duty to protect the people, and I will, but I need your help, my lords. We must stand together, all of us, if we hope to stop her.
She has 3 full-grown dragons, Your Grace. The same as Aegon when he conquered the 7 kingdoms. How do you propose to stop them?
We are currently at work on a solution, my lord.
Lord Tarley.
Jaegers.
Sir Jamie. I believe you know my son.
Sir Jamie. Rickard, isn't it? Dickon. That's it. Thank you for coming. The other Lords of the Reach look to you for guidance now more than ever. They might not have come if you hadn't.
If my queen summons me, I answer the call. And I've heard what she does to those who defy her.
You ride for Hornhill today?
I have an army to mobilize. Won't be long before the fighting starts.
And which side will you be fighting for? You were the only man to defeat Robert Baratheon in battle, not even Rhaegar Targaryen.
It's a long ride back to the Reach, Sir Jamie. How may I serve?
I want you to be my ranking general in the wars to come. I want you to swear allegiance to Cersei, and I want you to help me destroy her enemies. All her enemies.
Including Olenna Tyrell. I'm a Tarley. That name means something. We're not oath breakers, we're not schemers. We don't stab our rivals in the back or cut their throats at weddings. I swore an oath to House Tyrell.
You swore an oath to the crown as well, Lord Tarley.
I've known Olenna since I was a child.
She was a great woman, once. Now, she's broken. She wants revenge so badly she brought the Dothraki to our shores. The Dothraki in Westeros for the first time in history. I know you don't like my sister, but you have to make a choice. Do you fight with us, or with foreign savages and eunuchs? When the war is won, the Queen will need a new Warden of the South. I can think of no better man than Randall Tarley.
Yikers.
My queen, please accept this gift on behalf of all of your loyal subjects in the Iron Islands.
I give you what no other man could give.
Justice. Justice for your murdered daughter.
You've proven yourself the greatest captain on the 14 seas, and a true friend to the crown.
You deserve more than a true friend.
And you deserve a proper reward for your heroism.
There's only one reward I want.
You shall have what your heart desires when the war is won. With Euron Greyjoy commanding our naval forces, and Jaime Lannister leading our armies, the sons and daughters of Westeros shall defend our country.
There's nothing quite like it, is there? The love of the people.
I suppose you wouldn't know. The same mob spat at my sister not long ago. And if you turn on us, they'll cheer to see your head mounted on a spike.
All yours. They're just like severed heads, really. Listen, if you have any advice at all, I would love to hear it. When we have an hour or two to speak as brothers.
Advice?
Does she like it gentle or rough? A finger in the bum. Not now. We'll talk later.
No.
done.
It is.
And now the rains weep o'er our halls. Did we fight well?
As well as could be expected.
It was never our forte. Golden roses, indeed. Your brother and his new queen thought you would be defending Casterly Rock.
The truth is, Casterly Rock isn't worth much anymore. What it is to me, my fond childhood memories won't keep Cersei on the throne.
So you just let them take it.
For now, they won't be able to hold it. Euron Greyjoy's navy burned their ships. He emptied the larders before we left.
Eventually, they'll be forced to abandon their position and march all the way across Westeros.
And you took your army, your real army, and went to where they weren't.
As Robb Stark did to me at Whispering Wood. There are always lessons in failures.
Yes. You must be very wise by now.
My father always said I was a slow learner.
If he was so clever, why didn't he take High Garden the moment your gold mines ran dry? I suppose I'll be able to ask him myself soon enough. No more learning from my mistakes, eh? How will you do it? With that sword? That was Joffrey's sword, wasn't it? Not that he ever used it. What did he call it?
Widow's Wail.
He really was a cunt, wasn't he? I did unspeakable things to protect my family, or watch them being done on my orders. I never lost a night's sleep over them. They were necessary. And whatever I imagined necessary for the safety of House Tyrell, I did. But your sister has done things I was incapable of imagining. That was my prize mistake. A failure of imagination. She's a monster, you do know that.
To you, I'm sure. To others as well. But after we've won, and there's no one left to oppose us, when people are living peacefully in the world she built, do you really think they'll wring their hands over the way she built it?
You love her. You really do love her. You poor fool. She'll be the end of you.
Possibly. Not much to be gained from discussing it with you, though, is there?
What better person to discuss it with? What better guarantee could you have that the things you say will never leave this room? But perhaps you're right. If she's driven you this far, it's gone beyond your control.
Yes. It has.
She's a disease. I regret my role in spreading it. You will too.
I think we're done here.
How will it happen?
Cersei had several ideas. Whipping you through the streets and beheading you in front of the Red Keep. Playing you alive and hanging you from the walls of King's Landing. I talked her out of those.
Will there be pain?
No, I made sure of that.
That's good. I'd hate to die like your son, clawing at my neck, foam and bile spilling from my mouth, eyes blood red, skin purple. Must have been horrible for you, as a king's guard, as a father. It was horrible enough for me. A shocking scene. Not at all what I intended. You see, I'd never seen the poison work before. Tell Cersei. wanted to know it was me.
So, Jamie.
Rickon.
Dickon.
I hear you fought bravely at Highgarden. Your first battle? And?
It was glorious.
Come on. Your father's not here.
All my life, we've been pledged to House Tyrell. I knew some of those men. I hunted with them.
They didn't deserve to die. But Lady Olenna chose to betray her queen and support a Targaryen girl. So here we are.
I didn't expect it to smell like that.
Men shit themselves when they die. Didn't they teach you that at Fancy Lad School? Well, I learnt it when I was 5.
What?
Listen.
Spears and shields! Get in line! Spears and shields! Spears and shields! In line now!
Form up! Come on, lads! Up those wagons! Form a line! Form a line!
Fill the gaps!
Get tight! Spears!
Get back to King's Landing.
I'm not abandoning my army.
You're the commander, not a damn infantryman. Those fuckers are about to swamp us.
We can hold them off. Goblin Scorpion is over there.
Go get it then.
I can't shoot with one hand.
Come on! Where are you? Come on, you fucker. Flee, you idiot. Come on, boy. Come on. You idiot. You fucking idiot. You could have killed me. The fuck were you doing back there? Ending the war. Killing her. You saw the dragon between you and her. And? Listen to me, cunt. Till I get what I'm owed, a dragon doesn't get to kill you. You don't get to kill you. Only I get to kill you. That was only one of them. Just two more. If she decides to use them, to really use them, you're fucked.
What do you mean we're fucked?
No, I do not. Dragons are where our partnership ends. I'm not going to be around when those things start spitting fire on King's Landing.
I have to tell Cersei.
May as well jump back in that river.
Last time I was here, I killed my father with a crossbow.
Last time I was here, you killed my son with wildfire. There's a path to the left that hugs the cliff. The guards hardly ever patrol it. Too many steps.
You're not staying here?
I've got my own business in Flea Bottom.
What if someone takes the boat?
Then we're fucked. Best hurry.
We don't have time for this. We should be preparing the city for a siege. The Dothraki are coming.
All the more reason for you to train. Unless you plan on fighting Dothraki 12-year-olds.
Well, I seem to recall them giving you a bit of trouble as well.
And here I am, ready to train.
Why down here?
I don't think you want people to see how you look swinging that thing yet.
Today might be the day I kill you by accident.
Oh, you won't be swinging it at me. I'll leave you to it.
I needed to see you. And I knew you'd never agree to meet. You made me look like a complete fool. I thought I'd surprise you by hitting Casterly Rock. But you were 3 steps ahead of me. Abandoned the family home, completely unsentimental. Father would have been proud.
Don't talk about father.
Listen to me.
I once told Bronn that if I ever saw you again, I'd cut you in half.
It'll take you a while with a sparring sword. He was going to execute me. He knew I was innocent. He didn't hate me because of anything I did. He hated me because of what I am. A little monster sent to punish him. Did he think I wanted to be born this way? Did he think I chose
What do you want?
Daenerys will win this war. You're a military man. You must know there's no way around it. Daenerys is not his father. She's even willing to suspend hostilities if Cersei agrees to certain terms.
You want Cersei to bend the knee, you can ask her yourself.
I don't. Daenerys doesn't. Not right now, anyway. She has a more important request.
Give yourselves.
That won't be necessary.
Sir Jamie?
Why was Qyburn here?
He's the hand of the Queen. Why are you here?
I met with Tyrion.
What did our brother have to say?
Daenerys wants to meet,
To discuss her surrender.
to discuss an armistice.
She just won a great victory. Why would she want a truce now?
Because an army of dead men is marching on the 7 kingdoms. Tyrion claims he'll have proof.
Are you going to punish him?
Tyrion?
Bronn. He betrayed you. He set up a meeting without your knowledge or consent. Do you think anything of importance happens in this city without me knowing?
He lets it happen. Why?
I've come to believe that an accommodation with the Dragon Queen could be in our immediate interest. She has the numbers. If we want to beat her, we have to be clever. We have to fight her like Father would have. Dead men, dragons, and dragon queens. Whatever stands in our way, we will defeat it. For ourselves, for our house. For this.
Who would you say is the father?
You.
Keep it all like that.
Do you remember what Father used to say about people?
The lion does not concern himself with the opinions of the sheep.
Never betray me again.
Oil? Pitch, my lord. How many barrels? 500, my lord. Get 500 more. Yes, my lord. I still enjoy it when they call me my lord.
The thrill will fade.
If we live that long. Men without cocks. You wouldn't find me fighting in an army if I had no cock. What's left to fight for?
Gold?
I spent my life around soldiers. What do you think they spend that gold on?
Family.
Not without a cock, you don't.
Maybe it really is all cocks in the end.
Yet your brother has chosen to side with the cockless.
Yes. He's always been a champion of the downtrodden.
We're about to be the downtrodden.
Sir Jamie.
It's been good to see you. I imagine the next time we'll be across the battlefield.
We both saw what just happened. We both saw that thing.
Yes, and I'm not looking forward to seeing more of them. So I'm loyal to the Queen, and you're loyal to sons and adult brothers.
Oh, fuck loyalty.
Fuck loyalty.
This goes beyond houses and honor and oaths. Talk to the Queen.
And tell her what?
You spoke with her?
At her, until she kicked me out. She thinks I was an idiot to trust you. A lot of people seem to think that, actually.
I'm about to step into a room with the most murderous woman in the world, who's already tried to kill me twice. That I know of. Who's an idiot?
I suppose we should say goodbye. One idiot to another.
My armies will not stand down. I will not pull them back to the capital. I will march them north to fight alongside you in the Great War. The darkness is coming for us all. We will face it together.
Our men in King's Landing will march north in 3 days' time.
It'll take us a fortnight just to gather supplies for the trade.
We don't have a fortnight. If the North falls, we fall. 3 days. The remaining forces in the Westerlands will take the river road east. We'll meet at Lord Howay's town and march together to Winterfell.
Sir Jamie.
Your Grace.
My lords, I need a moment with my brother. What are you doing?
Preparing the expedition north.
Expedition north. I always knew you were the stupidest Lannister. The Starks and Targaryens have united against us, and you want to fight alongside them. Are you a traitor or an idiot?
You pledged our forces to fight our common
I'll
enemy.
say whatever I need to say to ensure the survival of our house. You expect me to trust the man who murdered our father? You expect me to command our troops to fight beside foreign scum?
I pledged to ride north. I intend to honor that pledge.
And that would be treason.
Treason?
Disobeying your queen's command, fighting with her enemies, what would you call it?
Doesn't matter what I'd call it.
I told you no one walks away from me.
Are you going to order him to kill me? I'm the only one you have left. Our children are gone. Our father is gone. It's just me and you now.
There's one more yet to go.
Give the order then. I don't believe you.
Come on, guys, believe. Super explosive trap. Oh, yeah. Oh, I debated him so hard.
Good. Just spent 5 mana to do nothing.
Wow. 5 mana to...
Oh, he's trying to draw some random effect. It doesn't. Great.
What? Like... Was that his best play?
He got 2 tempo back already. Oh my god!
What? What?
Incredible.
What?
L'abbiamo pescata così non può uscire. Ora ho un segreto, 2 segreti, One of Cold, Poli. Buona. Buona lei. Easy Lethal. Easy. I trolled them. This is the only way I can win. I need a charge minion. Oh my god!
Can you move for how much? Well, depending on if he plays another move. I'm gonna be like, oh my god. My deck. He attacked before? He's such an idiot. What are you doing, mate? What are you doing?
Ha ha ha.